Good evening, it's me. I'm going to tell you some ghost stories tonight, I think, because it's a dark and stormy night. And so, throughout my whole entire life, I've had lots of paranormal experiences. Lots and lots and lots. And it started when I was really young. And it started when I was 6. And it, of course, started in the basement. It was, I think it was spring, and one of the first things that I saw was at the far end of the basement there used to be a bar, and it was red, and it had that mirrored glass that was all crinkly with gold, like gold veins running through it. If you can hear the thunder, it's not actually thunder, it's fireworks. It's the last night of Stampede, so they're all fireworking it up. So it's not gunshots, in case you're worried. Anyway, towards the end of the bar is when I first saw a spirit, I guess. I think it kind of looked like a guy, but he was leaning against the bar and he was looking at me. And I remember not really being afraid of some strange man in my house, because I didn't have that fear yet. Wow. So, I would be 6, I think, is what I said. And that was my first experience with a ghost. And he was just standing there watching me. He wasn't doing anything. I remember seeing him a couple times in the basement. And I remember being afraid after a while. I can't remember exactly why, but I remember being afraid to go downstairs after that. I don't know what he did or said or anything to make me afraid of going into the basement by myself, but I remember after the second time I saw him, I was absolutely terrified for some reason to go into the basement. So I would, of course, do the typical scream down the stairs as fast as I possibly could, blast down the hallway, turn into the door, and then flip the light on. And that was my routine until I was like 9, at least, I think, in that house. So I remember, it was in grade 2, yes. In grade 2, I was in my school and I was in my library, and I discovered, I didn't know the school had a paranormal section, and I didn't know what paranormal was at the time, but I found a ghost book. That was fun. And I took that home and I read it from cover to cover. It was really complicated, and I remember being more scared because someone else saw it and somebody else knew what was going on. So it wasn't just me, so that made it even more real, so that made it even more scary. Anyway, so that's the first couple of years. During that time, I remember my stepmother, when she moved into the house, had a horrible fear of people being in the basement. She would, my dad used to go out of town all the time, so she would hear people breaking into the basement, and she would hear people, walking around or talking or something. And then I remember waking up one night and I heard a glass smashing, and I remember hearing talking, but I think it was a radio. It sounded like a radio that was coming from the basement. Inevitably, my mother came in, and she woke me up, but I was already awake because I heard it, and she wanted me to come downstairs with her because, a 7-year-old is way equipped to deal with, burglars and stuff. But anyway, she was terrified out of her head, and so we went downstairs and we investigated it a few times. This happened a few times. And we went downstairs, and the glass that I heard smashing, like I would always hear it, but I would never find it. Like we would never find the glass, like broken glass anywhere. It was just, I remember listening to that and being like astounded that there wasn't any glass anywhere, because there should be some kind of physical evidence of something making that noise. Anyway, I moved out of that house and I moved to Winnipeg. I have a hair. Anyway, so I moved to Winnipeg, and I used to go for these long, long walks in this neighborhood. And the neighborhood fascinated me. It fascinated me. It was abandoned buildings and abandoned houses, and I just swore up and down. I would swear. Stack of Bibles, that place was haunted. Like the whole block. I think it was like 3 blocks or something. And there was it was deathly quiet in that neighborhood. It was just so quiet. And I would walk our little dogs. We used to have chihuahuas. And I would walk them, and I would walk through this neighborhood. And it was quiet. And it was like boarded up houses and stuff, but you could still have that feeling of it being lived in or people watching you. So I loved that. I don't know why, but I loved that neighborhood. It was so awesome. And then I moved from Winnipeg to Nelson. And then in Nelson, it just exploded. Like the paranormal activity I went through was like huge. It was so big. Nelson was just like haunted. It was a haunted town. I don't know. Anyway, so I was in Nelson. And we lived in a townhouse for a little while, and it was quiet. It wasn't really noisy, like you couldn't hear the neighbors and stuff. And I remember, and that was what, grade 7? I think it was grade 7 or 8, something like that. Anyway, I remember being afraid of my closet because I kept seeing like a face in the closet, and I would close the door. I remember I would close the closet door. It was one of those slidey ones, and in the morning when I woke up, it would be open again. And I would just put that out of my mind and kind of continue with my day. And then, towards the end, I had like all my stuff piled against the closet just to see if I could keep it from opening. But it would always be open no matter what I did to it. And I remember being terrified of that face and rolling over and trying to ignore it. And then we moved into a house after that, and the house was haunted. We even gave the ghost a name. His name was Scotty. And when we first moved into the house, it was like you walked into somebody else's house. The house was not yours. The house was like, you had to be really respectful in this house, and you had to be very quiet. I don't know why, but you had to be quiet in this house. And I remember several times of, hearing things, but not really sure if I heard them or not. Like I would hear voices down in the basement, or it sounded like it was from the basement. It could have been anywhere from the house, but I remember hearing, let's think. I remember the dining room always felt weird to me. Like I never liked to eat in the dining room. We only did it in special occasions. Normally would sit on the couch and eat in the living room. But I remember on several occasions I would see a swirly white mist, and it would be in the living room. And then I remember one time I was walking down the hallway. I came out of my bedroom, and I went down the hallway, and at the end of the hallway there's like a mirror. So many times. Every time I walked down that hallway, I would see a white mist float from the bathroom across the way to our 3rd bedroom. It was The first time it happened, I screamed, ran out of the house, went to the neighbor's house. Yeah. And that was kind of the beginning of me being terrified. But of the major haunting that I was experiencing. I remember feeling always that it was never my house. I always had to kind of like make an announcement, I'm coming home or I'm home, talking to whoever was in the house. We called him Scotty. And then I remember my dad came back from one of his trips, and I told him all about this swirly mist that I kept seeing in the house in various places. And he told me that he also saw the same thing. So it kind of made me feel better and worse at the same time. And then I remember as years progressed, like that was like from grade 8 or 9 to grade 12 till after I graduated. It was a really intense hunting, I guess. You would always see swirly things. You would always hear bumps in the night. My sister saw him a few times, I think. And then I remember moving out of that house, and I moved into, I think it was the third place I lived. That was haunted. I remember hearing people talking. And I remember hearing people walking. It was really weird. It sounded like people were walking across the roof. It was the strangest noise. It was like somebody was walking on the roof. And then, what else was there? I always thought somebody was coming up the stairs, or not up the stairs, but up the porch to our front door and coming in. So I'd, yell hello, and then I would turn around, or I would go into the living room and I'd go look to see who was coming in, and nobody was there. I was like, oh my god. But I swear people came in and out of that house and they weren't embodied, I guess. And then from there I moved back into the house on Gore Street, which is where Scotty lived. And then after that I moved to Calgary, where I am now. And nothing happened in the first apartment. The second apartment was kind of quiet. And this apartment that I'm in now has a little bit of haunting going on. I'm almost at 13 minutes here. This apartment, I heard lots of stuff. Like it's like a quiet apartment. No, that's not how to say it. It has thin walls, and you can hear people talking, and you can hear them walking up and down the stairs, and you can hear them close the door and stuff. But what I'm hearing is in my apartment. It's in my apartment. I know that because it sounds like somebody rips my posters down and like tears them off the wall, or it sounds like somebody is ripping paper in my apartment. Like I would come in and I would say, I hope you didn't rip my books. And nothing is moved. It's just a noise. There's a shadow that kind of happens in my bedroom. Usually when I'm going to sleep, I'll see it. I've gotten used to that one now. Yeah, it's just a shadow. But sometimes it has a shape, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's a man. But when I first saw it, the first impression that I got, it was like a horse head on a human body. It was the strangest thing. Anyway, at first I got really, really scared. And then I would sheet over the head and try and go to sleep that way. And then finally I was like confrontational. I said, well, if you're going to do anything, just do it, get it over with, because you're keeping me up. And it kind of went away after that. But I can still feel it around. I don't know. And there's I kind of want to say it has to do, I don't know, it's a ghost in my apartment, or maybe not really a ghost so much as a presence. Maybe it's like residual or something, I don't know. Do you guys know the difference? I'm not going to get into that. That's going to be a whole nother video, because right now I'm at 15 minutes. I'm probably talking your ears off. Probably fast forward to the end. Anyway, so those, I've lots of, one more ghost story, and then and then I'll let you go. Me and a friend were driving down McLeod Trail, and as we were driving, we were just passing one of the malls that is here, and as we were passing it, I saw, with my own eyes, I saw this guy step off the sidewalk and run across the street. And it's a 4-lane highway, right? So it's 4 lanes of traffic. And he ran across the street, and he nearly collided with us. And I gasped and I braced myself, because I was positive we were going to hit him, because he was coming right for us. And then my friend, who's driving, she swerved out of the way so she wouldn't hit him. And then he poofed into nothingness. He just wasn't there. We didn't hit anything. He wasn't in the street. He wasn't anywhere. So that was really weird, and we kind of didn't say anything for a few minutes. We kind of like, you didn't see that, did you? Did you? What did you see? I saw something. So it was, that's my last ghost story for tonight. Anyway, I hope it didn't give you nightmares. I'll talk a little bit more about this, but I figured this would be a good introduction to the paranormal, my paranormal, to you guys. And I will talk to you later.